Assalamualaikum and hi to everyone. We are from Group 10. We're gonna talk about vector algebra. Uh, for the introduction, what is vector? Vector is a geometric object that has magnitude, or we call it as length and direction, and can be added to other vectors according to vector algebra. Okay, as we know, vector consists of two fundamental things, which is magnitude and direction. The length of the line shows its magnitude and the arrowhead points in the direction. From these vectors, we can also add two vectors by simply joining them head to tail, like this one. This is two vectors, different magnitude and different direction. Both can be added and make a new magnitude and new direction. It doesn't matter which order we add them, we get the same result. For example, this one. Different direction, but same magnitude and same result. This is for the addition of the two vectors. For the notation of the vectors, a vector is often written in bold, like A or B. A vector can also be written as the letters of its head, which is B is the head, and A as a tail with an arrow above it. B the head, A the tail. Magnitude of a vector. The magnitude of a vector is shown by two vertical bars on either side of the vector. Sometimes it can also be written with double vertical bars so as not to confuse it with absolute value. We use Pythagoras theorem to calculate it. A with two vertical bars in either side is equal to square root of sum x squared plus y squared. Okay, for example, B, which has a magnitude of 6 in x-axis and 8 in y-axis. We gonna have a calculation for the magnitude of this vector using the formula of Pythagoras theorem, and the answer is 10, which make the vector B has a magnitude of 10. Okay, what is a scalar? When using vectors, we call it an ordinal number, a scalar. Scalar is just a number like number 7 or maybe negative 0.32. This is definitely not a vector. A vector is often written in bold, so we know it is not a scalar, like A bold or B bold. Okay, the question is what if the vector multiplied by a scalar? When we multiply a vector by a scalar, it is called scaling a vector, because we change how big or small the vector is. For example, m with 7 magnitude of x-axis and 3 magnitude of y-axis, we're gonna multiply it by a scalar 3, and it will result 3 times bigger or 3 times longer than the normal m, which is result 3m. It still points in the same direction, but it is 3 times longer. Now let's do some calculation. Okay, for the most common way is to break up the vector into x and y pieces. One vector can be break up into 2 pieces, which is x and y, referring as x-axis and y-axis. For adding the vectors, we can add the vectors by adding the x parts, then adding the y parts. Let's say there are 2 vectors with 8 lengths of x-axis and 13 lengths of y-axis, and the other vectors is 26 length of x-axis and 7 length of y-axis. We can add up to the vector. And it will become just like this one. The 2 vectors which has different magnitude, different direction, different length in x-axis and different length in y-axis can be add up and resulting the new magnitude and the new directions. Fifteen, 7, resulting 20. The first vector and the second vector, and it will make the new vector. This is the new magnitude and the new directions, the result of the vector. With 34 of x-axis and 20 y-axis, the vector now become 34 and 20. Okay, for the next one, subtracting the vector. Remember, to subtract, first we must reverse the vector we want to subtract, then add them up. Let's say we have a vector of v, which has a magnitude of 12 in x-axis and 2 in y-axis. We're gonna add with the negative k, or we're gonna subtract it with k, which has a magnitude of 4 in x-axis and 5 in y-axis. it gonna result the new magnitude and the new direction, which has 8 magnitude in x-axis and -3 magnitude in y-axis, and we call it as A. Okay, for the dot product, you can calculate the dot product of two vectors in this way. A dot B, which equal to A multiply with B multiply with cos theta. Where A is the magnitude of vector A and B is the magnitude of vector B. Theta is the angle between them, between vector A and vector B. So we multiply the length of A times the length of B, then multiply the cosine of the angle between A and B. You can also calculate the dot product using this way. A dot B is equal to A x-axis multiply with B x-axis plus with A y-axis multiply with B y-axis. We multiply the x and multiply the y, then add, and then it will result the same magnitude, the same dot product. Both of these methods work. For the next one, cross product. These are two vectors, A and B. They can multiply using the cross product. The cross product A multiply with B of two vectors is another vector that is at right angles to both. It all happens in 3 dimensions. For the calculation, we can calculate the cross product in this way. A multiply with B is equal to A bar B bar in either side multiply with sine theta n, where A is the magnitude of vector A, B is the magnitude of vector B. Theta is the angle between both of them, n is the unit vector at right angles to both A and B. So the length is the length of A times the length of B times the sine of the angle between A and B. Then we multiply by the vector n to make sure it heads in the right direction at right angles to both A and B.